attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our PODI-sponsored webinar. Thank you, PODI, for putting on today's event and hosting it. And of course, MindFire is partnering with PODI. We're good friends and longtime associates. So today's webinar, as you know, is growth opportunities for marketing service providers in the higher ed vertical. And we've got a great webinar for you with great speakers. So let's go ahead and go through some of the quick housekeeping. And you should be able to hear us right now. If you can't hear us, there's a number you can call for some help. And the favorite question of the day, asked repeatedly by our attendees, are you recording this session? Absolutely. And will you get a copy of the slides? Yes, you'll have a copy of the slides as well as a recorded session for your use following today's webinar. And that will go out within 24 hours following today's session. There's a great opportunity for you to be interactive throughout today. We'd like you to ask as many questions as possible and ask any question. At the end of today's session, we'll answer all the questions we can during the hour. If there's any unanswered questions, which has happened in the past, we'll follow up on a direct basis with you with email and live to answer any questions. Our agenda for today, we're going to explore the many opportunities associated with the higher ed market. We're going to start off with how you can grow your revenue by tapping into the areas of opportunity such as fundraising, event marketing, and new student search. Quick overview just to familiarize you with the different areas within higher ed if you're not familiar with that. Then our keynote, Dave Olson from One Group, one of our longtime successful partners, is going to talk about his Giving Tuesday program that he just recently ran, and also give you some great insight to the higher ed, which he's been working in for many, many years. And then we'll invite Christine DeLuz from PODI to join us, and Zenarate and some programs that PODI has to help you with your higher education clients and skills. So as you can see, we've got a great session and of course questions and answer at the end. So with that, let's say hello to our presenters. First, David Olson. He's a Senior Vice President of Florida Operations and a partner of the One Group. Hey, David, how you doing today?
Doing good, Joe. How are you?
I'm awesome, thank you. You sound good. You look good. So thanks for taking time out of your busy day to join us. We greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, super. And Christine DeLuz from PODI, Caslon PODI, Content Director and a good friend. Hey, Christine, how you doing?
I am doing well. Hello to everyone.
Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. All right, so with that, let me just do a check to see how we're doing with the attendees coming in. They're still coming in. And let's see, everything looks good. So let's go ahead and dive into the first section, which is the new areas of opportunity for higher ed engagement. So to begin with, there are really 5 big areas of opportunity within higher ed. The area we're focusing on today is alumni relationships, and there's a whole lot going on in that area, and we've got an expert with us today, David Olson, who's going to share some great insight. And the other big area of opportunity is student search, getting those junior and high school seniors focused and engaged with a higher ed institution to get them to come to their institution. Believe it or not, it's a highly competitive business. Event marketing, yield marketing programs, that might be a new one to you, and we'll introduce that to you today. And actual online applications. More and more of our customers are providing an online integrated application using the studio so that these higher ed applicants can fill out and complete their online application right there from their home. So we'll get into all those and give you a brief introduction before I pass it over to David. All right, so when we think in terms of student search, really the focus there is to identify and develop student applicants as potential students at a higher ed institution. The typical focus areas are, of course, junior search, where we're actually starting to engage juniors as they're starting to think about it. Senior search, where there's big focus and a big competitive rush there to get the seniors to commit. And then those advanced degree development programs, could be a master's degree or doctorate. So we continue those marketing efforts after they're actually at the institution or if they're not. The target audience is both the student and the parent. Obviously, the student has one list of objectives for where they want to go, and the parents have an entirely different one. Sometimes they're on the same page, but how we communicate with a student is very important. Equally important is that messaging to the parent. The strategy, highly personalized engagement. We want to focus on their interest areas, and we gather that through the program, through the survey tool in the online programs. And really, today is all about more than one touch to create that differentiator and really follow-up programs that provide high-value content focused on the student applicant's interest areas. Again, technology is a critical piece of this. Now, there is a proven systematic approach for success. You want to personalize that outreach. You want to use multi-channel and multi-touch. You want to track who's responding, what they're saying, what's important to them. Learn what they're interested in and start that dialogue and continue it through that nurturing process and deliver relevant content in real time. Again, taking the data and then following up with the appropriate information specific to their interest areas. Now, here's a great example of what a student search workflow looks like designed on the studio. And you can see we're capturing what you wish you knew, the university wish they knew about all these students. And this has really fundamentally changed the higher ed engagement. And I'm only briefly introducing this today. If you have questions or want to do a deep dive on these different programs, please contact me following the webinar today, and I can take you through each of these areas in great detail because I've got a lot of experience working with our customers. This box down here, that personalized follow-up and content, there's a whole lot of different things being done there. And again, the technology is enabling these wonderful outreach programs to be more successful. And you can see the content and our marketing pieces, it's really important how we connect in the messaging. The door's open, step in, don't let anything stop you. So great example. Now we think about the target audience messaging. We want to make it really relevant to the target audience. And we're starting to really get into segmentation, both on the behaviors and interest level areas. And you can see some of the examples. And these are really critical to the success for the university because each student is unique and the follow-on dialogue has to be just as unique. A couple more examples of some of the content and the personalized landing sites, including those geo-mapping capabilities that show exactly where the student's located in the university. And here's what an actual fundraising program would look like. This is one of David's programs. You can see highly interactive, using all the different channels, getting a personalized website, actually an online payment program for those donations. David will tell you more about that. And then that social media challenge, sending out a challenge to your target list. And again, David will get into more detail on that. Now, I think in terms of fundraising alumni, you can see it's a huge area of opportunity. You know, when you look at this slide, you can see the 4-year institutions, the 2-year institutions, both public, private, not nonprofit, as well as private for-profit. There is a difference. And like I said, today I'm just giving you an introduction of the opportunity. And we think in terms of your service definition, you're really providing a solution to help the development officer in the higher education raise money from alumni. And again, get the annual campaign planning, including analysis, the creative development, the ongoing execution, including production. Now, the best practice of our leaders, like David, is they're bundling all these services together in a single proposal, one price for the total program approach, and these range anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. They can be sold separately or have separate engagements, but most of our top customers are doing a programmatic approach on 1-year basis. Just makes better sense for everyone. And when you think in terms of the technology, using the studio to create these wonderful programs, you can see that there is a very clear design element that allows you to deliver these target lists, that very personal and relevant connection using the different channels, driving them to the microsite with those trigger follow-up based on the behaviors while they're online and their interest levels. And of course, the payment app so they can actually make that donation in real time. And a checkout page and that personalization and the follow-up, which David's going to go through for you today. Now, this one-to-one yield program is probably new to some of you. And really what this does for the universities and the colleges, it's one thing to get them to sign up. It's another to get them to actually show up. And so we're seeing more and more yield programs from our customers. Really what this does is find out who's coming, who isn't, and who's on the fence. Map out the next steps for each group, specific to the individual, deliver the data to advisors about each student so they can follow up appropriately, and they'll follow up with relevant information in a timely manner. So this is a really growing area for our customers. And this is what a yield campaign would look like. And again, I'm just giving you a brief introduction to different areas of higher ed. As you can see, we've got a lot of experience in these areas. The final area I want to touch on today is event marketing. More and more institutions are reaching out to a larger community of potential attendees for on-campus events, such as student athletics, arts and music venues, on-campus prospective events, like maybe a doctorate or master's program. We're bringing them into a one-day event on campus, and certainly reunions, like the example I've teed up for you here, where it gets real interactive. You can see the alumni class, and again, get them back on campus through an interactive program. Now, what does this mean for you, whether you're a customer or you're a prospective customer? Well, it means it's a great area of revenue growth. It's new high-value services that the university is looking for help for, and David can speak to that so you can hear it from a customer like you. All right, so there's a brief introduction to the higher ed marketplace, and you can see it's quite significant. Now I'd like to segue to the Giving Tuesday program that you're all here to learn about today, a new path forward for Florida International University. And before I bring David back, I'd like to give you a little background on David. He's a very unique individual with a lot of experience. As I mentioned earlier, David is the Senior Vice President of Florida Operations and a partner of the One-to-One Group. And he leads the cross-media marketing division for One-to-One and oversees all operations in Sarasota, Florida. He's got over 20 years of experience as a professional fundraiser for nonprofit institutions of higher and secondary education. His extensive background includes many annual fund and capital campaigns, volunteer and staff trainings, and board development programs. And he's arguably the most interesting man in the nonprofit marketing world from our perspective. So, David, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Great to be here. I must say that, amongst the vertical markets out there, higher ed is, for us, for our company, the most sought after, and only because that workflow is renewable year after year for each one of those 5 different workspaces that are out there, whether it's student search, whether it's alumni relations, event marketing, whatever. Having come out of higher ed, we chase the higher ed market year after year, and most times we're doing or redoing the same workflow each year. I mean, you saw bits and pieces of the Wolfpack, North Carolina State Wolfpack campaign. We've been doing that campaign now for this going to be our 6th year in a row doing that. So
it's huge.
This is a great opportunity for companies like ours.
So let's kind of kick this off by the Giving Tuesday program, and let's talk about how your early steps in 2014 with FIU led to the Giving Tuesday. So you kind of got engaged way back in 2014 with them.
Yeah, we pitched them on a bunch of things that had to do primarily with print. Direct mail solicitations. They're one of these schools in Florida that has a good problem. They're outgrowing themselves at an exponential rate. What used to be a small community college outside of Miami is now, a massive full-time residential students and enrolls. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 students currently enrolled there in various degree programs. So they've quickly grown from, maybe 10 or 20,000 alumni 5-10 years ago to upwards of 90 or 100,000 alumni today. So we talked to them about doing some direct marketing programs, and one of the things that we like to do is an anniversary program. And simply put, it's the anniversary of your last gift to the university. So if you gave a gift in October last year, in October this year, we'll send you a little anniversary card, you know. So that's the work that we got. You know, it was a small job, small work, but that was our foot in the door with this client. And then we expanded that program by not only doing just a direct mail card, but adding email to that campaign as well. And then along came this opportunity. They asked us, have you ever done anything for this Giving Tuesday? And if you're listening out there and you're not familiar with what Giving Tuesday is, it just happened. It was on December 2nd, and it's one of those Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday kind of opportunities. And Giving Tuesday is actually a movement that's centered around making charitable donations after the shopping blitz is over to the charity of your choice. So FIU wanted to get on the radar screen of their 90,000 alumni by a marketing effort that was pushing their graduates towards this hashtag Giving Tuesday FIU campaign. So our plan was simple. You know, we weren't going to do any direct mail with this. We had enough email addresses. We were going to do a series of emails that began 6 days prior to Giving Tuesday. Our first one went out on Wednesday. We had another one go out on Black Friday. We had a third one go out on Cyber Monday, and then we had 3 emails pushes on the day of Giving Tuesday. Next slide.
Yeah.
So this here is basically, I think this was out of the blocks, the hero image in our first email. We used animated GIFs because it shows action and movement in your email client, you know, whether you're looking at it on a desktop or a handheld. So, and they had some great images for us to use. So this was this hero image here. I call it a hero because it's the central focus of your message. This was the one we sent on Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving, and some of the copy in there. I think maybe one of these slides will show it, Joe.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is in its entirety. So, you know, basically, salutation, your giving matters. That's right, alumni giving, and your participation increases the value of your FIU degree. So there's the email. It's a quick introduction of what Giving Tuesday is all about. Here's a second email. I think this one was the Black Friday email, obviously, and that also the hero image in that was also animated. Next slide. And the Cyber Monday, you know, subject line here, hey, have we got a deal for you, you know, so we took those sale tags and put students that are actually receiving scholarship funds in there as a selling point. And we encouraged people on Giving Tuesday to make their donation to First Generation Scholarship Fund. So
Nice.
And then, so this was one of 3 messages that went out on Giving Tuesday itself. I think the subject line here was pretty huge. You know, it was the subject line of this email that went out by 7 or 8 o'clock. Salutation, you will join the movement today. You know.
Yeah.
And, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this one went out in the morning. This one went out around midday or so. And then we had the last one went out, I think, right around 5, 6, or 7 o'clock, depending on what time zone you are in. You know, you still have time to join the movement.
And just as a reminder, David, for everyone, you know, each of these had the animated GIFs in them. You know, I like to not do it for the webinar, but I think, you know, those images were such high quality and of student activities on campus. I think that created another level of connection. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we dropped in ask amounts in there, and some we segmented out the messages to a little bit, not major, but a little bit, to the point where we knew who was a past donor and who was like a never giver, they call it. So
nice.
So then we the emails all brought people into a microsite that we created, and it's probably what we're going to see is the initial landing page of the microsite. So you know, a little personalization there. And then all we did here was just create, again, using their beautiful imagery. We took a number of different pages and just branded them with some of their tagline information that they use within their development office to build a case for support. So as you scroll again through this, think there's probably a couple of more.
Yeah, the growth.
Your gifts at work. We had a video there of a first generation student, and if you go to the next slide, you'll probably see what that might look like on the microsite. There it is right there. Next slide.
And I think one of the important things for our audience, David, is the fact that the quality of your images really jump off the page. I mean, I see a lot of programs, and that's the one thing that's very striking about this program is it's just so clean, it's so well laid out, and I know you guys spent a lot of time really working on that.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, this looks really good on a desktop environment, but we did optimize this using HTML5, CSS3, so that it would look just as nice and just as clean on whatever you were viewing it in, whether it's a handheld device, a tablet, whatever. So it was fully responsive, and the functionality of it was tested across multiple devices. This is basically this is the gateway entry into the donation form. So this pre-populated when someone came to this event, this page here from the email. This was already loaded with their information, so they could proceed right to the checkout page, which simply was a donation form that asked for just a few pieces of information. First was a gift amount. We wanted you to enter a donation amount in there. Then if you wanted to designate your gift to something like other than the greatest needs funds, so maybe you wanted to give to first generation scholarships or academic needs or something else, you could select that. And everything else populated by itself using the data that we had, all the address information. Now we get to the bottom of the page. We need your credit card number and expiration date. And our site was integrated with the payment app. Our client, gave us the credentials to speak to their payment site, which was authorized.net. And so we were able to process these gifts for them in real time. So once you hit the submit button, you'd see this processing page. Here's an example of what it might look like if your card was declined. You typed the wrong number, or you gave us the wrong expiration date, or something like that. So we even provided them another way to get back into the site to try again, or if they wanted to go to the client's homepage, they could do that.
David,
the gift was
quick question, if I may. What percentage of the higher ed institutions that you're involved with, bring up that question about, payment app, or do you have a way to integrate with our payment app? Do you find that pretty common?
No, it's actually quite rare. Even though we got two clients that are two pretty big clients that have actually let us do it. Well, the norm is that a lot of higher ed institutions just can't get their arm around it. There's too many levels of bureaucracy to go through to try to figure out if it's quote unquote, safe, secure, legal, etc. So there's too many decision makers in the mix. So we're fortunate to have two of our higher ed clients allow us to do this, and to their benefit, when we do integrate with their site, we do put the secure socket layer on there. We encrypt the transfer of information, particularly the gift amount, the credit card information, expiration date, all that stuff is encrypted as it's passed back and forth between the microsite and the donation site. So all of that is securely handled. Yeah.
I know we've got more and more customers that are starting to do it. I think it's an area that you should explore with your customers. Wouldn't you recommend that?
Oh, absolutely, because it's quite easy to integrate, and as you'll see in the next couple of slides. So I make my gift. I see the processing page. Then the next thing I see is, thank you, David, payment approved. Your card has been charged $25. Here's your transaction ID. Help spread the word about hashtag Giving Tuesday FIU on social media, so you can see the bottom half of this page. Next slide. We wanted them right away. Once we had donors, we wanted them right away to be telling the world about it. So we actually took both of those things. On the left, you see a Facebook wall post. On the right, you see a Twitter feed. And we actually put the buttons right on top of what they would look like. So we wanted to show them what they would be doing. So the Facebook share and the tweet buttons are right on top of the screen caps of what it would look like. So
This is huge.
So anyway,
this is where you build that organic growth for additional donations. And I know that when
yeah,
you're
we call it a cycle, a self-perpetuating cycle of giving. So
Yeah.
if we can get a donor and convert that, someone makes a gift, they become a donor, obviously. Let's get them to become an opinion leader and maybe influence someone who's a non-donor to make a gift. So we try to do that with all of these cross-media campaigns that we develop.
Yep, beautiful. All right, and then we got the thank you email that's starting to go out.
Yeah, so I made my gift, and next thing I know, my email chimes up. Thank you, David Olson. Your annual support of FIU matters. Now be a superhero by sharing #GivingTuesday on social media. So again, these are the same links that do what that page did previously. We're just giving those links to them again in the email, thank you email. So this trigger came from the microsite. I think the next screen.
And just before we go to the next screen, I think again it's noteworthy. Just look at the quality of the presentation level that David and his team are providing for this university. I mean, you could walk into any university with a quality slide like this and say, this is the value we're bringing to you. It's huge. All right, so here's the triggered emails that went out.
So this one arrived immediately. Once that transaction was approved, boom, this came from the authorized.net site, which is the financial site where the money, the site that accepts the money and puts it in the bank for the client. So this is my tax receipt, basically. And so this is the one trigger that came out. The previous screen was the trigger that our microsite sent out based on the activity. So we get two emails right away. This one's, one that I print and throw in my folder. The other one is one for action, obviously. And then, so there it is again. That's the real-time, the actual screen grab of the thank you email I got. So you can see how it looks in my Google email client. And this here was probably the most valuable trigger of all, even though it's the simplest of all of them, because I set this up to in real time. Someone makes a donation, boom, it sends me that person's name, their ID number, their email address, their class year, their gift amount, their payment status, their payment information. And I sent the same trigger up for the client. So the client's home on a Friday night, the Black Friday email goes out, a couple of people make gifts. He can sit there on his couch while he's watching a game or something and send a thank you email to these people. This was really good for him. He got one gift and it was pretty large. It was about $700, and he did not know that person, that individual, and it happened that that person was their first-time donor. So he had the information right on his handheld, wrote him a nice email. Hey, thanks so much for your generosity. So it worked out well for him.
And that's impressive as a donor, getting a note back from him in real time. I mean, that's the power of real-time analytics and communication, right?
Yeah, I don't know where this came from, but someone told me, some marketing expert that's 10 times smarter than I am, if you can follow up with, you have someone that's initiated a contact with you, if you can follow up with them in 30 minutes or less, the chances are that you got that person's business for life.
Yeah. Yep. There's a study out on that. Yeah. Good. All right. And then, of course, the critical component of all these higher ed giving programs is that social media sharing. And again, here's some more looks and views of how it was leveraged.
Yeah, so what you're looking at here is as you clicked on that Facebook link that you saw on the thank you page, or you also saw it in the email, if you clicked on it, then it would position this post for you and get it ready. This assumes that you're logged into Facebook. So now it gets It gets the content and the image and the link. Everything is just ready for you to share. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say something or anything. All of it's right there, ready for you. It's one click away. All you got to do is hit share. We've driven variability into these posts as well, using stuff that we either capture on the microsite or stuff that we already know in the data file before we even load it. So
beautiful. Another view.
And so there you go. I hit the share button and boom, Heather works for me. She's my Facebook guru. So that's what it looked like on her wall the day she posted it.
Nice. And
a second shot of it.
Yep. Twitter.
And the same thing for Twitter. You know, again, you get that, you click on the Twitter link, the copy's right there for you. There's nothing really for you to do except log in and tweet. And then highlight it there right in the middle of the page. There's what it looks like on our Twitter feed. So, and those tiny URLs and the click-throughs on those shares bring you back to our microsite as a guest. So you have the same look and feel, the same experience. You just have to profile yourself before you get into the donation page.
Nice. So overall, the results, you know, from FIU's standpoint, they were pretty happy, huh?
Oh, they're ecstatic, and in fact, we're on site there tomorrow to talk about next year. Which, you know, for you know, this was zero business for us last year, and it was good business for us this year. Now it's guaranteed business for us next year. So we couldn't be happier ourselves.
Yeah, and I think the thing that impressed the heck out of me, David, the entire program is so high quality, but the fact that the young alumni, which is typically not the largest group of donors in this program, was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of all the donors, there was one anomaly donor that had their class year began with 19. It was actually 1974 grad. Everyone else that was a donor to the campaign, their class year began with 20 something, you know?
Yeah. And then I think that the fact now that they've experienced what a true cross-channel marketing automation program with all the moving parts is, now your conversation with them about what's possible for all the other areas of opportunity is an entirely different conversation, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. I mean, we're tomorrow. I know we're going to be talking about how do we segment the message across their major colleges. You know, the College of Business, College of Arts and Sciences. You know, there's a big university, and so they got lots of different ways to slice and dice the population. So they want to, you know, how do we build affinity groups into the mix here? You know, is there some sort of way we can segment and message to former athletes, you know?
Yeah.
So the opportunities are endless.
Awesome. So, you know, from my vantage point for the attendees, before we go to a couple questions with Dave and then hand it over to Christine, but, you know, the reality is that innovative programs like what we just viewed open up new doors of opportunity with all of your customers. Today we're talking about higher ed, but the reality is pick any vertical market. It's what you just saw is a great case study example of leveraging the multi-channel marketing automation technology to deliver the results for the higher ed institution. And when you deliver high value results, as David does each and every time, you create differentiation. You make it almost impossible for you to be replaced in that institution because you become really the fabric of their marketing activities. It makes you a key strategic partner for other needs of opportunity, areas of opportunity, which I'm sure David will be reporting on in the future. And again, the initial program has been expanded over the year, as you saw from where David started, to other areas of need, leading to a significant increase in revenue and profit for the one-to-one group. So just awesome job. Now, let's segue to how David and his team are growing the business. So I've got 5 quick questions before we move over to Christine. And I think they're questions that would be asked by the audience in any event. So let's get started with those. So based on the recent success with FIU, what do you have planned for this year's activities in 2015?
Well, that being said, we've actually found a way to bundle this package, this Giving Tuesday package, and sell it across, not just the higher ed markets, but believe it or not, we actually picked up a food bank in Southwest Florida to do a Giving Tuesday campaign for.
Yep.
So, Giving Tuesday movement is relatively young. I don't know if it's 3-4 years now, but everyone's, as of late, everyone seems to be jumping on the bandwagon. So this is, an opportunity for us to just, get our foot in the door, and now we have some traction, some real work to showcase and to bring to prospects as we move forward in 2015. So this is just one little opportunity,
Yeah, great. All right, and when we think in terms of program evolution, David, how have the higher ed fundraising programs evolved over the last several years?
Oh, they've come a long way. I mean, I can tell you from experience in 1993 as a fundraiser, when Microsoft came out with the Office suite, we thought it was great that you could take data in a Word document and merge the two together. And in-house, we were doing these fancy word merges, and nowadays, to be able to integrate into multiple outbound media touches and create inbound points that are personalized. It's come a long way, and lately I see the trend is that more and more of these colleges and universities want to head down this road. There's something in higher ed called the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education. It's called CASE. And when I was in higher ed, we joked. We called it copy and steal everything. Higher ed clients like to see what their neighbors are doing, what their peer groups are doing, who's doing what down the street, and that's how they get most of their ideas. They're like, oh, this worked for so and so let's do it.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you that the guys down the street at Florida Gulf Coast University have already seen the FIU work.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the beast. So they all want to keep pace with one another.
Awesome. Okay. And the number one challenge, when working with the higher ed arena, what's the number one challenge to gaining access and getting them to market differently to their target audience?
Yeah, gaining access sometimes can be tricky. Knowing the right decision makers. Whether oftentimes you get access to an influencer who can open the door to a decision maker. You got to know, and I think we probably have a leg up on that, just because a number of us here in the office came out of higher education, so we know the ins and outs and what to look at and who's the right person to call to get our foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
But getting them to market differently to their target audience, sometimes we can't convince them, and sometimes we're not the right fit for them. But I think that for us to be able to showcase some of the work that we've done and how it can apply to them in a relevant and meaningful and a results-driven manner is a way that leverages confidence on their behalf, and it's what gets us the business, I think.
Yeah, and so for those of you that haven't been in this area, I would say use your partner. Let us at MindFire help you. You'd be shocked all the access we have to case studies and great use cases. We can be a real asset to help you if you haven't done that yet. Okay. Old school marketing. Some would say that higher ed institutions are old school marketers and slow to move to new ideas. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I'm on the fence there. It depends. It depends on each institution has a personality, if you will, and it's driven by the climate and the culture and the pedagogy of the school that that you're talking to. So while we've talked to many different schools that are are in the mindset, that doesn't work for us. We don't do that type of stuff. But yet, by the same token, there's others out there that just want to stay on the cutting edge and want to be on the forefront of that wave.
Yeah, and I think it's an opportunity, right, David? If you're to one of those old schools, do you want to be relevant? Do you want, especially on the fundraising side, do you want to fall behind what other institutions are doing successfully? Of course not.
Yeah, you just have to know what side of the fence you're on and who you're talking to. You're talking to the neighbor on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of your house,
Yeah.
Because I think the opportunity is there for both.
Yeah, I agree. All right. And how about the innovation factor? You're an innovative company. You've been offering marketing automation programs to your customers for 6 years. How has this helped your company expand your customer offering and grow your revenues?
It's been remarkable. I mean, when we started as a MindFire partner in 2008, we were doing a couple of outbound emails, a direct marketing piece. People come into a landing page, answer a couple of questions. It was, pretty cutting edge back then. But I never thought that we'd be doing half the stuff that we're doing now with triggered SMS messages and this and that, and that I never thought that using the MindFire product that we'd be able to create a e-commerce friendly microsite for a client. That just it's mind-boggling to me. That we if you told me 6 years ago we were going to do that, I'd be like, yeah, right.
So it's been a big help, huh?
It's been an awesome help.
All right, good. All right, thank you for the awesome job. Stick around after Christine's presentation, which we'll go to now. I see a bunch of questions lining up. So let's welcome back Christine. And now we're going to show you where you can get some tools to help you achieve success in higher ed. So Christine, welcome back, and let's rock and roll.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Well, first let me get started, give a little bit of introduction to PODI for any attendees who are not familiar with us. PODI is an industry association whose mission is to grow the market for digital print. And we do this by helping service providers to sell more with resources like our 500+ case study database and our online sales coaching platform that I'm going to go into more in just a minute. We also help service providers deliver things more efficiently through workflow case studies and product briefings, and we help vendors with market analysis and sales tools. Next slide.
Yep. Hold on, sorry, there we go.
There we go. Okay. All right. So our sales coaching platform that I mentioned earlier is available to all PODI members, and it's called Zenarate. Now, many companies have a top-performing salesperson that they wish they could clone. That rep may have the most effective pitches or stories, but he or she may not have the time to teach other people in the organization. And role-playing is an effective tool, but people can feel uncomfortable or defensive being put on the spot like that. So Zenarate addresses these challenges by enabling users to learn from their peers and experts using talk tracks and stories. They get to practice privately using webcam and digital tools before sharing for feedback. And within the platform, they can get peer and expert coaching. Next slide. Okay. Now, specifically looking at the higher education market, PODI has several resources to help you grow your sales. There's Zenarate, which I just talked about. We have vertically focused sales training classes and sales peer groups and coaching. And next one. All right. Our training resources have been developed by Kim Gross, an expert in the higher education market. Over the past 7 years, she has sold and helped develop integrated marketing solutions at several universities and colleges. And now members can learn from her hard-earned experiences and her insights into this market. And she has been very open, sharing, her experiences, what's worked for her and what hasn't.
Let me just, if I can just add something there, Christine. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, Kim Gross is a longtime MindFire customer as well, and she's a rock star just like David when it comes to experience and expertise. She's been guest speaker at our educational webinars. I know many of you are familiar with her, but again, this is why I'm a big fan of the Zenarate program with Pody. I think it offers a lot of value, and they've been kind enough to invite me to participate with Kim in some of those sessions. So she's a rock star if you don't know her.
Yeah, she's been great to work with. This is a person who just actually went through a course with Kim Growth Leading, Brent Rudden. He completed the 4-week training class with Kim, and now he has an interesting story in that he worked as an administrator in the higher education market for 19 years, and the service provider he worked with was Gilson Graphics. And he was impressed with Gilson, and when an opportunity arose, he joined Gilson as a sales representative. So with his background, Brent could verify that Kim's insights about the market were spot on. And Brent learned a lot about how to approach selling integrated marketing solutions now that he was on the other side of the table, so to speak. And through his participation in the course and use of Zenarate, Brent's seen a dramatic improvement in his message about Gilson Graphics. Brent's initial attempt at a company story was rather long and rambling, kind of seemed to go on and on. After feedback and practice in Zenarate, his message was much more engaging, made a more personal connection with his prospect, and really focused in on what would matter to a higher education marketer.
Yeah, and again, just another comment, having participated in those training programs with Kim, Brent and other participants, wasn't just Brent, but all the participants, their presentations improved immeasurably because they had the right training and the ability to practice the best practice methodology. So very nice. And the fact that he came from higher ed should make him a powerful rep now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So as I mentioned in Zenarate, Kim has shared her strategies for growing sales in higher education, and through online tutorials and interactive videos, Kim's provided her talk tracks. We refer to them within the platform as stories for getting appointments, handling objections, conducting a needs analysis, and more. And these resources, they're all available to users to work with 24/7. It's when it's convenient for you. So if you have a few minutes in the office, or if it's when you're on the road traveling and you're in the hotel room, stuck in the hotel room, you can access this stuff and work at it, when it works for you. All right, next slide. All right. Now, of course, the real power of Zenarate is that rather than just watching these videos, you can use the platform to practice and refine your own message. You can practice privately using your computer's webcam, and you record your delivery. And you can practice as many times as you like. If you need 10 takes to get the message right, that's fine. You do it again and again until you've got it. And then when you are comfortable that you have your best message, you can share it with your sales manager or with colleagues or a sales coach. Just within the platform, it's very easy to share, and then they can give you feedback, again, right within the platform. Next slide. And this process of practicing sales stories and receiving feedback has proven very beneficial to PODI members. And Mike Peterson here, he's the CEO of Gabriel Group, says that his sales team is having much more valuable and impactful conversations with customers now. In fact, Mike was one who shared with us that at one time they had hired a sales coach to come in and help them, and the sales coach had been trying to get the sales team to do role playing, and it did not go over well with the team. The team was like very defensive, not wanting to do this, resisting it at all attempts. But Mike said that this particular platform using Zenarate was something that worked much better for his sales team.
Good.
All right, next slide. Mm-hmm. And so then what I mentioned before, those are all kind of like self-service type resources. But in addition to those, PODI also offers the more intensive 4-week course focusing on selling to the higher education market, and that course is led by Kim Growth. And we purposely keep the class sizes small to encourage participation. And each week, participants are given homework where you're told you have to go record a story in Zenarate, and then we give you feedback, very specific to your message and ways to improve it. So, Joe, as you mentioned, you got to participate in that class and help provide some insights. Any feedback, more feedback you have on the class, or?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome class. Kim does an exceptional job. She focuses extensively on the fundraising side of the business. So if you're interested in getting involved with the fundraising, that's her focus of most of the content. I bring the new student search and some of the event marketing that I spoke of earlier, as well as yield insights. So you've got a well-rounded opportunity there, but it's well worth the investment.
Yeah. So our next class is being offered in March. So, watch, if you're on our newsletter list, you can watch for announcements in our newsletter or watch our website, podi.org. And that's it. And finally, then, if you're looking for those that are looking for something more in depth or advanced coaching, we are going to be offering a higher ed focused sales peer group, where the goal is going to be meeting twice a month. That all the peer group participants will be recording stories in Zenarate and reviewing that, providing feedback to each other. And then there's also individualized coaching opportunities with Kim Gross.
Awesome. Okay,
Right.
so
And then,
good program.
finally, my contact information there. If anybody wants more information about PODI or about the Zenarate platform, feel free to contact me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christine. Great job. So we've covered a lot of ground today, starting off today with the areas of opportunity for higher ed, which I did. And then, of course, David's awesome insight on the Giving Tuesday and how to conduct an effective program. And then a new resource available to you through PODI on several levels. So there's absolutely no reason that you can't be successful in this area. So let's now segue to our Q&A. We're right on time. And so let's go ahead and find these questions and let's get some answers for everyone. So let's start here. Let's see. Okay, Tyler, I'm sorry. There sounded like there's a little feedback there. I'm not sure what that was, but we will make sure that doesn't happen in the future. So Joe Foley, great to hear from you, Joe, said you don't think you overhit them with the possibility of annoying the prospective donors. So, Joe, if you can add to that, are you saying annoy them because of the 3 emails making them aware of the Giving Tuesday opportunity and the 3 emails during the day? I mean, that's pretty standard methodology for most of our customers. David, do you want to add a perspective on that?
Yeah, also, you should know that we used behavioral filters along the way. There were 6 outbound emails, but not everyone got all 6. I would say the only one that got all 6 were probably the seed records in there. So if you got Wednesday's message and you opened it and read it, you probably didn't get another email until Monday or even Tuesday morning, because we suppressed you out. We assumed that you read it. And obviously we were managing opt-outs along the way. Same holds true for the 3 emails that went out on Tuesday morning. So Tuesday morning, the email that went out, if you opened that and read that email, you didn't get the one at midday. And certainly if you had clicked through to the microsite and made a gift, you were suppressed out from any further outbound emails. So that worked well. So I don't think that we were annoying people.
Yeah, good answer. And I think, again, when you have the behavioral filters, the technology will enable you to make sure it's very appropriate for each level. But that's part of the strategy up front. And again, leveraging, the insight based on the years of experience that Dave and his team have. So I think you got it spot on from my perspective. All right, next question. What percentage of donations came from social media shares? Do you have that data point, David?
I don't, but I do know that I think it was 5% of the gifts came in from, and not dollar amounts, but donors came in from the generic URL. So they came into the microsite as a guest, and the only way to get in there was from social media. So, we believe that traffic that came into the microsite was from there. So a small portion. And remember, it was a one-day event,
Yeah, definitely. Here's another social media question. You use Twitter and Facebook. Did you consider LinkedIn groups of FIU alumni? Perhaps you considered them but did not see the opportunity there. Why or why not? Or why did you choose Twitter and Facebook over other social areas?
Yeah, we've just so you know, we've done LinkedIn, social media in some of our other campaigns. University of Miami has a big LinkedIn presence, and with stuff that we've done with them, we've used that. But it was a client preference. I mean, we could have done Instagram as well, but in this case, they just wanted those two.
Are you, and you raised Instagram, are you seeing much interest in that area?
You know, I don't. Me personally, I'm not in that world. You know, at 50 years old, you know, my philosophy ain't no one got time for that.
Yeah.
But you know, from you know, if you go down the hall and ask my colleague Heather, who's in her 20s, I mean, that's where she lives. You know,
Yeah.
Those three things: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, and we've got other customers that are leveraging Instagram. So for those of you on the call wondering about that, and for Matt, great question on what was used. We've got customers using all the vehicles, and as David said, you know, it's not uncommon to tap into where their alumni are spending their time. So again, that's all part of the strategy up front, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ed asked a good question. You bundle the giving package. Can anyone sell the package? Now, Ed, are you saying can anyone, as in your company, sell it and David builds it for you? Or maybe you can expand on that question in greater detail. And would you, I guess that's a good question. Would you consider offering that service to some of the folks that may not have the capability, David?
Yeah, we would consider that. Yeah, have them reach out to me.
Okay, yeah, your contact information will come up here in a second. In fact, there's David and Christine's contact information, and if you need any of my help and your existing customer or prospect, and you want to expand on where I was this morning in my presentation, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, let's see. Jim asked. Yeah, absolutely, Jim. We are recording this session, and the recorded session that you can share with your internal teammates, as well as the presentation, will be available following today's session within 24 hours. Yeah, and Joe Foley's added on to his question. He was curious about the frequency of emails. And Joe, hopefully we answered that question to your satisfaction with the filters, behavior filters, and the other technology capabilities. Not everybody receives 6 emails. So hopefully you feel good about that answer. And if you have additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out and we will get those answers. And let me bounce up to this slide right here. For those existing customers that need additional help, strategic consulting, of course, many of you know Carrie Driscoll-Hill. She's been with me for many, many years on the team. She does an incredible job. Mackenzie Farshid to set up a demo. If you're not a customer, sign up for MindFire training courses, Adrian Marquez, and if you need our professional services team, who is doing a lot of these higher ed programs for our customers, Dustin's contact information is there. All right, Sheena asked a question. Would you be able to utilize the same platform for other fundraising events? For example, all universities, profit and nonprofit organizations.
The beauty of the platform is you can use it for anything. You know, so having come from that look who's clicking platform, which had its limitations, but to the studio platform, I mean, we have not been roadblocked by any of the possibilities with the studio platform. So if a client can feasibly think of it and ask it, we've built it for them and delivered it.
Yeah, absolutely. The technology knows no bounds, and more importantly, you can easily copy those programs and repurpose them. I think that's kind of where you were going, Sheena. So you can repurpose them for other fundraising events, other organizations, profit and nonprofit organizations. The same best practices that David's deployed for his university programs, you could go to United Way. They have the same challenges. So absolutely. All right, another question here from Tyler. How are you guys advising clients on how to handle and comply with the recent opt-in laws and legislator? David, you want to go first?
Yeah, that's a great question. And typically we're using a client's house list. So before we even, when they hand us emails and say, we want you to, start marketing to this audience, here's the data file. I mean, one of the things that we're really careful about asking for when we get that house file from them is exclusion preferences. Does this person even want email from you? So we demand it before we actually load data onto the servers and begin marketing. So that's one of the things we ask for upfront and right away. With bigger higher ed accounts, they're all doing that. They're all managing those communication preferences on behalf of their alumni. So
Yeah.
we find it quite easy to suppress people who don't want to hear from them.
Yeah, house list is good. We've got a list of helpful hints as well, Tyler, so don't be shy, ask the team. I love pre-review of the file. You can sometimes look at that, the naming convention of the emails, and you can eliminate some of the emails that are going to, definitely fall into a potential issue. And again, you've got to have that opt-in and opt-out on the page itself as well. So these are just a few of the things you can do. Okay, Peter, great to have you aboard here. Dave, when you introduce new strategies and tactics, do you encounter pushback from conservative mindsets, and how do you coach them or encourage them through innovation attempts? So, Peter, are you asking the university team members or the sales team members? But let's start with the university team members. When you get some pushback for new innovative ideas from the conservative universities' mindsets, how do you coach them through that, David?
Yeah, I should probably drag in my other partner, because my other two partners are the ones that are really the ones that, generating leads, and they pretty much open the door for me to come in and talk about this stuff. And some of the pushback, there's always pushback. There's always, someone in the room that wants to say this doesn't work. We tried that. That happens all the time. But for the most part, that doesn't get us down. We don't sell every client that we talk to, and we kind of go into it knowing that we're not going to do that. And as I said earlier, each one of these institutions has its own personality, and that has come with a culture that has existed for however many years. And maybe it's only for the life of the guy who's the decision maker, or gal who's the decision maker in place at the time, So of course, this pushback to advancing and moving forward, we just try to show them and sell them on results. A lot of the programs that we do speak for themselves. When we can bring to the table successful cross-media campaigns that demonstrate higher than average open rates and click-through rates, as well as response rates, and the average gift goes up. I mean, those are the things that speak volumes to the work we do, and there's no getting around it.
Absolutely. I would just put my 2 cents in there, because I get an opportunity to co-present with a lot of our customers to higher ed, so they lean on me. I think there's 3 things, Peter, and it's a great question. Thank you for asking it. I think there's 3 things you do. First, you educate. As part of your presentation, you educate them on the trends that are impacting higher ed in today's marketing cluttered world. You know where I come from on that. Second, I like to use a similar situation. I'd like to show you what some of the other innovative, leading higher ed marketers are doing to achieve success in this area. Everybody wants to be a leader, and if they see other well-known higher ed institutions doing these wonderful things, they're kind of like, oh, maybe I should be doing that. And then finally, the return on investment, as David said. Let me show you what the typical lift is in actual donor results or new student acquisition. And if a new student acquisition for a student search program, a new student represents $250,000, they're 4 years on campus, and you've got a significant lift of millions of dollars, they know you know what you're doing, and they want you in the door. So that's been my experience. couple more questions. We're a couple minutes over, but we've got a couple more questions. If you want to stick around, I'll answer the last couple questions, and then we'll wrap up, okay? Because these are pretty good questions, guys. Thank you for asking them. Just real quick. Ed said, yes, use the package as a sales item. So you got a lead there, David. I'm sure Ed's got your contact information there that I put back on the screen. We have a school near us that would like to pitch it to. Okay, so there's his contact information. Joe Foley said, great, so good answer. All right. And Bob asked about the return on investment for the Florida campaign. I don't know that David wants to get into specifics on that, but
we'll have those numbers by, again, we're meeting with them tomorrow for debrief, just to go, I mean, some of the gifts that came in were, 2 days after Giving Tuesday was over. So
nice.
We're gonna, if someone wants to loop back around and reach out to me, they're welcome to.
Yeah, the fact that the university, it was their first move into a true integrated marketing platform approach with all the moving parts, and the fact that they now have seen the light and they know that David can do exactly what they need in all the areas is going to generate a lot of success for them and for David's organization in the future. So with that, let me first of all thank you, our customers and prospects, for joining us today. We greatly appreciate your participation, and we'll have another wonderful new innovative webinar next month. I want to wish everyone happy holidays. I want to thank David Olson for being an awesome customer, supporting us, and thank you so much for your time, David. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I want to thank Christine DeLuz and Kazlan Podi for sponsoring the webinar and, more importantly, participating and being a great partner. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Joe.
And again, thank you to you for joining us. And again, as I said, the recording session and the presentation slides will be available tomorrow. So if we can help, you know where to find us. And we look forward to speaking to you in the future. And again, thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye now.